Good evening. Welcome to the March 13th Leavenworth City Commission meeting. I ask that you all turn off your phones or silence them. We are live on TV on Channel 2, and the replays are played every night at 7 o'clock at midnight until next Tuesday. We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silent meditation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Start off with a proclamation, and we have the new employee welcoming. I ask that Tisha and Twistle come forward. I have a proclamation to Tisha and Twistle. The Leavenworth City Commission would like to join your family, friends, and the entire city of Leavenworth in congratulating you on the debut of the First City Film Festival. We thank you for promoting our community by scheduling this event from March 22nd through March 25th in downtown Leavenworth. As the festival director, your love of the arts is evidenced by the acting you do on local stage and films and by your service on the board of directors for the River City Community Players. After graduating from Leavenworth High School and traveling the globe with the military for a few years, we are thankful that you chose to return to Leavenworth to raise your children and to own and operate a local small business. Thank you for volunteering your time towards several local organizations that make our city a better place, such as the Leavenworth Historical Society, Leavenworth High School Alumni Association, Leavenworth Main Street, and the Leavenworth County Relay for Life. Your affiliation with the Leavenworth Lions Club, Leavenworth Lansing Chamber of Commerce, Military Affairs Council, Women's Division, and the Young Professionals is commendable. Leavenworth is fortunate to have such a model citizen. We understand that the First City Film Festival's Andy and Twistle Spirit Award was established in honor of your late husband. The recipient of this award and everyone else that participates will be sincerely fortunate that someone as dedicated and driven as you established such a wonderful event. We ask that you please accept our best wishes on the success of the First City Film Festival, and we look forward to the film festival for years to come. And we have this proclamation for you, and we have a coin of the city. And you have the mic. You have the mic.
So Taylor called me and asked me to come and tell you all about the First City Film Festival, but he's really good at lying. So do you still want to hear about the festival? Because it kind of seems like you guys already all know. Okay.
We'd like to hear a little bit.
So yeah, we started working on this more than a year ago in January of 2017, and there's, I don't know, 7 or 8 of us, maybe 9 of us on the council and the committee, and we're really close. It's going to be downtown Leavenworth, March 22 through 25. Our venue is now the Masonic Hall, and we just have so many people that have come forward to help, to volunteer, to sponsor us, and we just really hope that this event is going to grow into something that's going to bring some more tourism into downtown, help our downtown a little bit. I grew up here, so I love the city and I love the downtown. So the festival has 42 films that we're showing. We are going to give a scholarship to a local Leavenworth High School student on Thursday night at the festival. Friday night we're having a big party down at the Riverfront Community Center, and Saturday and Sunday we're going to screen all 42 of those films. So,
and they're local.
There are local films. We have 10 films that have direct Leavenworth-Lansing ties. So either the directors graduated from Leavenworth or Lansing, or the actors are from Leavenworth or Lansing. We have 10 international films, and then we have several that are from the area, Kansas City, Kansas as well. And then we have films from around the country, and actually some of those people are coming to Leavenworth. They're going to stay in our hotels, and they're going to spend some quality time here, and they're coming because their film is being filmed or being screened at our festival. So.
Will the films be viewed at the Masonic Lodge? Is that
Correct.
where they're going to be viewed?
Correct. We are going to be running 3 screens all day Saturday from 11 a.m. until 11 p.m. and then Sunday from, I think it's about noon till about 5. Okay. So the first floor, the old storefront, the old Crimson Hill storefront, we're going to have a screen in there. The main floor of the Masonic Lodge and the second floor, or the third floor of Masonic Lodge. Mm-hmm. Any other questions? All right.
Thank you. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you all. Thanks, Taylor, for being such a good liar.
Now we have we're welcoming newly hired personnel. We'll start off with Robert Turner. Robert was hired on September 21st, 2017 as a solid waste collector. Robert graduated from Woodland High School and was previously employed as a farm laborer for Campo Lindo Farms. Where's Woodland High School? Woodland, Washington. Okay, welcome, Robert. Jamie Wilder. Jamie was hired November 2nd, 2017 as a solid waste collector. He graduated from Leavenworth High and was previously employed as a cutting operator for precision cutting and coring. Thank you, sir. Cherry Benson. Cherry was hired on November 16th, 2017 as a records clerk. Cherry is a graduate of Leavenworth High and previously worked at Remprex LLC as a terminal manager. Chase Hunley. Chase was hired on November 30th, 2017 as a firefighter. Chase graduated from Bonner Springs High School and previously worked at Futamura as an operator. Futamura as an operator. Cameron Davenport. South Carolina. Cameron was hired on December 14th, 2017 as a solid waste collector. Cameron graduated from Goose Creek High School. If those that didn't hear it, where's Goose Creek? South Carolina. Somebody heard it. Cameron graduated from Goose Creek High School and was previously employed by First Transit as an operator. That's it. Did John Bargery? No. Okay. Old business is consideration of previous meeting minutes from February 27th, regular meeting. Any comments, changes, additions, deletions?
Mr. Mayor, I don't have a change, but I did have a question about Mr. Fields coming to the City Commission sometime in the future on this LCPA. Is that going to happen?
Yeah, I can report as of this afternoon that Mr. Fields will be here at the March 27th meeting.
Okay.
I spoke with him on the phone, and he's excited to come before the commission.
Any other comments? If not, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd move to approve the minutes from February 27th, 2018 regular meeting.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the minutes from February 27th. Begin voting. Commissioner Griswold.
Aye.
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 Passes 5-0. Next item, second consideration ordinance 8071 to amend section 110-40, traffic ways.
Mr. Mayor and Commission, as a quick reminder, this ordinance relates to updating our ordinance dealing with classification or clarification or definition of traffic ways, with the main cause being the addition of New Lawrence Road for bonding purposes. So there have been no changes since first consideration.
Any questions or comments from the commission? If not, this is a roll call vote. I will call the roll. Commissioner Bowder.
Aye.
Commissioner Dedeky.
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson. Aye. Commissioner
Aye.
Griswold. And then I vote aye. Passes 5-0. Next item, second consideration ordinance 8072 to amend Chapter 78, peddlers and solicitors.
Mr. Mayor and Commission, again, there are no changes on this ordinance from first consideration. If you do have any specific questions, you could direct them to our city clerk, Carla Williams.
Any questions, comments? If not, once again, a roll call vote. I'll call the roll. Commissioner Griswold.
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson. Commissioner Dedeky.
Aye.
Commissioner Bowder. And I vote aye. Passes 5-0. On the new business, citizens' participation, this part of the meeting is reserved for citizens that would care to address the commission or present petitions to the clerk. If you do care to address the commission, please address the commission on topics that are not on tonight's agenda. Anyone here care to speak to the commission? Anyone? Yes, ma'am. Please come up to the podium, state your name and address. And
my name is Julie Martinez, and I'm one of the property owners at 1423 Central here in Leavenworth. And I'm coming before the commission to discuss some problems we're having at our property that is actually going to force us to sell that property, probably at a loss to us. I have been calling code enforcement since, I believe, August of 2017 regarding numerous code violations at 1419 and 1415 Central. Those code violations include, at 1419 Central, there are at least 20 tires that are illegally stored on the property. There's a trailer filled with trash. There are empty buckets, tarps everywhere, cars parked on the lawn that are against Leavenworth code. These nuisances not only represent an aesthetic problem, but the tires and the buckets are definitely a health risk. We've had a West Nile problem already in the state of Kansas, and per Kansas Department of Health and Environment, it is illegal to have tires stored. They are a West Nile and Zika problem because they do harbor water. There is also heavy traffic in the alley between Central and 9th. We have been forced to purchase security cameras at a cost to us, that traffic increases after 2300 until about 0700, and the cars drive very rapidly through that alleyway, and it's a very narrow alley. I would like to request that no parking signs be installed in that very narrow alley and that a speed bump be installed. I would be willing to discuss cost of a speed bump and possibly donate the speed bump so that it would be a safe environment for the children that live in that area. I have been in numerous discussions with our code enforcement officials who've been very kind to me, but I would like to propose that you all perhaps look at increasing the fines for repeated code violators. My understanding is currently if I have a code violation and I don't correct it in the time required, I am fined as the property owner, but that fine never increases. So apparently I don't know what has occurred at these two properties. The property at 1415 Central is also an out-of-town rental person, And thank goodness, 2 weeks ago, those tenants were evicted. I don't see any law enforcement here, but I commend our law enforcement
Our deputy
officers.
chief's right behind you.
Thank you. I commend our law enforcement officers who, I believe from October until these individuals were evicted from this home, were in this neighborhood nearly every night. And also our animal control officers who were responding to loose animals. And finally, the day that people were evicted, confiscated their pit bull breeding operation. That was occurring. If you all are not familiar with Central Street, they're tiny houses. It's a tiny street. There were at least 10 people residing in the house at 1415 Central. There are numerous people residing in the home at 1419 Central. I have checked with code enforcement, and I have not been able to find the law regarding this, but I was told Leavenworth currently has no law in place restricting the number of unrelated individuals that can live in homes. But this is, and unfortunately, my husband and I, we don't live in the property. Our daughter currently resides there. They are going to be relocating from that property. And, but we're people you want to have in your city. We're highly educated. We bring lots of money to your city. And we have fixed this little house up and last October, I posted on Facebook, I'm gonna clean this neighborhood up. I'm gonna make a change. And now I'm like, I'm leaving Leavenworth because I'm tired of it. It's not a safe environment. I can't let my grandson live next to this. I literally showed an appraiser a picture of the backyard of this home at 1419, and his question to me was, are they operating a junkyard? And they're postage stamp yards. So, thank you very much for listening, and if I need to come back or discuss this or provide photos to you, let me know.
Thank you for bringing
Thank
this
you.
to our attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing I'll say, Ms. Martinez, I'm going from memory here because we did have an issue a few years ago about unrelated people living under one rooftop. And I believe there's some Supreme Court rulings or some laws that don't allow you
allow
to
that.
say,
Yeah.
you know, what constitutes a family or an extended family or
true.
anything like that. But I will ask Mr. Kramer if you could review some of Ms. Martinez's concerns there and report back to us with, from what you find out from staff, code, police, if you would, please. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Martinez.
Thank you.
I'm sorry for, and I understand your issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez.
Anyone else care to speak? If not, we'll move on to general items. First one is a public hearing about a fire damaged structure at 850 Sherman Avenue. First action is to open a public hearing for this structure, so I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So move.
Second.
Motion is second. Begin voting. Commissioner Griswold.
Aye.
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 Passes 5-0. We're in a public hearing now. Take comments from the staff about the house at the V at Sherman and Cherokee.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. On November 5th of 2017, the property at 850 Sherman was damaged by a fire. On January 23rd of 2018, the City Commission was presented Resolution B-2186, and on that day they approved that resolution, setting March 13th, 2018 as the date for a public hearing for the purpose of Chapter 50, Article 1, Section 5-05 of the City Code of Ordinances. When there's a property that's damaged by a fire that exceeds 75% of the value of the insurance policy, the city receives a draft from that insurance company in the amount of 15% to be used for either the demolition of the property if the property owner decides not to repair that property, or if he does decide to repair the property, the city will use it mainly as kind of a bond to guarantee that the property is repaired, and once those repairs are done satisfactorily to the city, then that is returned to the property owner. On February 26th of this year, a demolition permit was issued for the property. The property has been demolished. There's still a few minor issues as far as filling the lot and doing some seeding and everything, but for the most part, the property has been taken care of. And at this time, we're asking the commission to authorize the staff to release the funds back to the property owner once finalization of seeding and cleanup of the lot is done.
Mr. Cooper, I drove by it, 35, 40 minutes ago. Looks like it's all graded. I don't think it's seeded yet. It looks like it's pretty much done. So what you're asking for us is that we give you the authority to make the call, that you can return it. You don't have to bring it back to the commission to release the $5,100.
Yes, that's what we're asking.
But you're not releasing it tonight, or want to release it tonight. They're not quite done.
That's correct.
Okay.
Do we have any idea of when they're gonna get the seeding done? I mean, it's supposed to be done by today, right? The 13th of March?
Today is the day of the public hearing. I would expect they will have it done within the next week. I haven't talked to the contractor, the property owner.
No, I haven't talked to the property owner in quite some time, but
You could literally go out there with 20 pounds of seed and
Yeah,
go like that.
Well, they'll
And I
seed
went by it
before they
tonight.
release the money is what he's saying.
Yeah, we won't release the money until it's seeded.
That's fine.
I
That's
know
fine.
in
And
the
straight.
past, we've never had that particular problem holding it till it was reseeded.
Yeah.
When the house was down and you see that they've made an attempt, we've released the money. I don't see where we have to sit and go out there and watch them seed it before we release the money to them.
With the
And I know
demolition,
these people, they're gonna do what they say.
yeah, with the demolition process, there is a land disturbance permit that they have to get along with it, and part of that land disturbance permit, the requirement is that it be seeded and erosion control measures be taken, so that we do have to make sure those are done.
Okay. I'm in favor of granting you the authority to give the money back after everything is, the restoration process has been completed per
agree.
the agreement.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments? Anybody from the public care to speak? No, take a motion to close the public hearing.
So move.
Second.
Motion and second to close the public hearing. Begin voting. Commissioner Bowder?
Aye.
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 Passes 5-0. Next item is consider the authorizing staff to release insurance proceeds upon completion of the project.
So move.
So moved.
Smooth. Second.
Motion is second to allow Public Works or staff to release the money once the process has been completed. Begin voting. Commissioner Griswold?
Aye.
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 Passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is review property on demolition at 800 Miami.
City Planner Julie Hurley will handle the sign.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. This is a review of the property located at 800 Miami Street that is currently on a demolition list. If you'll recall, on October 10th of last year, the City Commission passed a resolution placing several properties on a demolition list, including this property. At such time, the owners were directed to commence repair or removal within 10 days from the date of publication of that resolution. After that time, representatives of the owner of the property, which is MidFirst Bank and Midland Mortgage, made contact with staff indicating their intent to repair the property and presented proof of funds that they'd obtained from from HUD to make repairs to the property. Since they did have proof of funds, they did enter into a remediation agreement with staff at that time. We gave them a deadline of March 1st to make the repairs as outlined in the remediation agreement. You have a copy of that agreement in your packet. On December 12th, City Commission reviewed that remediation agreement and did agree to grant them until March 1st to make those repairs. Since that time, the owner has made repairs to include the doors and windows. They've done the siding and painted the property. They did obtain a permit to replace the roof on March 1st. As of last Thursday, they had not replaced the roof yet. The materials were there. So we wanted to go out again today and see if they'd had a chance to do that. We did go out today and got some pictures. They have completed the repair of the roof. As you can see in the pictures I've got, they have not completed repairs of the soffits and eaves. You can kind of tell those are still in pretty rough shape. kind of click through, you can tell up here, around the peak, they've still got some work to do on that. But other than that, they have completed everything else that was on our list, to be completed. There's a detached garage on the property as well. It's in fairly good shape. It just does really need to be painted to match the house. That wasn't really a requirement of it, but that is something that we've asked them to do. The roof and the siding is in okay shape on that garage though. So, staff would recommend that, we could either go ahead and take it off, or if you wanted to give them another extension, we would suggest that we just remove it from the list, so as not to have them have to come back with just these minor repairs that, still need to be done, given that they have completed the bulk of them and are still currently working on it. If you have any questions, I can answer those for you.
You said the fascia is about all that's left on the house?
Yes, that's all that's left to be done.
I don't see a problem of releasing it.
I don't either.
I've got a problem. We either have a standard or we don't have a standard. I would be in favor of granting an extension, but, I mean, I know it's probably not a lot of work, although if you look at the pictures, it does look like, you know, it's gonna take at least several hours. So I just think a standard is a standard, and the soffits and the completion of the work that was outlined in the remediation agreement should be adhered to. And I would be in favor of an extension for some reasonable amount of period of time, but that's my feeling, Mr. Mayor.
Does the bank own this property?
It's owned by a bank, that's correct. The bank's out of Oklahoma.
Oh, that makes a
I'm,
difference.
Yeah.
with, what, I'm somewhat in agreement with Commissioner Griswold. This is a bank, this is not
Not
the
a
guy,
person.
you know, that
We're
as he
doing it
gets a little bit of
himself.
time from here, and when he gets a
Sure.
free weekend, he can do it, and his heart's in the right place. This is a corporation that signed a remediation agreement, and, I think their feet should be held to the fire, and it said these things will be completed by that date, they agreed to it, they have the monies, they have the contacts to do it, and they didn't do it. I'm not saying bulldoze it, but I don't wanna take it off. It's not, you know, Joe working weekends doing it, it's a corporation that's just throwing it right back at us.
Sure.
And, I'd be willing to give them 45 days. Not 90, not 60, but 45 days that they do it. Otherwise, we are a toothless tiger in some of these things, but in my opinion.
I've got a question for
Go ahead.
you and for Mr. Griswold and whoever else that wants to put this back on is the weather that we've had the last 2 to 3 weeks. How many of you have roofed a house in 30-degree weather, 20-degree weather, or painted outside? I think they probably got a contractor that's doing all this because they're not gonna come up from wherever they're at to hire one person to do this and hire another person to do it. So they probably got a local contractor who's doing it. And what he's doing is the last thing he would do. You don't paint the fascia before you put your roof on, you put your roof on first. They have not had the weather the last 2 weeks to put your roof on. I put roofs on and I wouldn't wanna do it that kind of weather.
And I don't disagree with you, but unless we extend it, they don't have to do it. And when did they sign this remediation agreement? In December?
They signed it November.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
they
there have
signed it
been
in
plenty of
November.
warm, and I know in the last 2 weeks they haven't, but if it's the last 2 weeks, everybody's going, oh, I gotta hurry up because I promised them I'd do it. There are plenty of warm times
Yeah,
since
taking
November.
for granted what the contractor's schedule was
Yeah.
too. I mean, he's not just living off that one house, I'm sure he's got other places that he's doing.
Well,
I'm just
again,
trying to
I'm not
throw
for
some common
bulldozing
sense into
it,
this.
and I understand what you're saying. And I'm not for bulldozing it, but I still think that this thing should be completed. If we remove it from the demo list, they don't have to complete it, then the neighbors have to live with a half-baked house.
It's good compared to a lot of other ones in this town that I've seen,
And I
which
don't-
is not coming in front of us.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in this town that's not coming in front of us, to be
Yeah.
true.
So, any other comments?
I can make a motion if.
Sure, yeah, I'll take a motion.
I move that we keep the property located at 800 Miami Street on the demolition list for another 45 days, 45-day extension to get the final repairs done.
I second it.
Motion and a second to extend the property at 800 Miami for 45 days. Begin voting. Commissioner Bowder.
Aye.
No.
Aye.
Aye.
Passes 4-1.
And just to clarify, would you like that 45 days from today or 45 days from the original deadline of March 1st?
We'll give it from today, since we made the motion today. Next item is consider downtown street closure for a homecoming parade.
This will be our Deputy Police Chief, Dan Nicodemus.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. Item on the agenda tonight is to request approval of the Leavenworth School District Homecoming Parade Permit application, as well as to a request to add this annual event to the list of exemptions for the downtown street closures. A little bit of history on the homecoming parade. The route has been held downtown in the past, and then it moved for a few years to a route that traveled between Warren Middle School and the high school. Last year it came back to downtown, and it was a pretty good success. Everything went real well. This year's homecoming parade is set for September 28th, and the route will start at Haymarket, where they stage, go north on 7th, east on Delaware Street, downtown, through downtown, to the landing at the riverfront there. As you also know, the closure of streets downtown require permission from the commission, and we would ask that you add this to the short list of parades that hold that exemption every year, the others being St. Patrick's Day and Veterans Day. There's no budget impact with this. Usually takes about 6 officers. They stay over after their normal shift for about an hour to accommodate the route. We have enough traffic control to ensure that the parade is operated safely. We do have a complete permit application as well as a certificate of liability insurance from the school district. So I would ask, staff would ask that you approve the parade, the 2018 Leavenworth High School homecoming parade permit, as well as grant an exception and add this event to the list for street closures downtown. And I'd be happy to answer any questions about the event.
Well, this is the only parade that goes the right direction. So it should be a little bit easier to do.
Chief, one question I have. Sure. Veterans Day and St. Patrick's Day, you clear all the parking, all the cars. You can clear the you can clear Delaware for this, or?
No, this is as we go. We're about a block ahead of the start of the parade with traffic control, and we have enough officers to just do it as we go. There's no removal of cars or extended closure of streets. It's a temporary thing.
So if you happen to be parked in the middle of Delaware and the parade's coming, you might have to wait 5-10 minutes before you get out.
Yeah,
Something
at
like that.
best, yes.
Okay.
It'd be like a funeral then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully a little happier.
Funeral is a parade.
It is, yeah.
Okay, and so you're asking for approval on this one and then a blanket authorization for future homecoming parades using this route?
Yes, sir.
They still have to provide an application, but it would be signed off.
Just like Veterans Day and St. Pat's, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Any questions or comments? If not, take a motion.
Go ahead, Nancy.
That's all right.
Commissioner Batter.
That's all right. I would move that we allow the downtown street closure for the homecoming parade and add it to our list of exemptions for parades.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the homecoming parade route for September 28th and for future years. Begin voting with Commissioner Bowder.
Aye.
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 Passes 5-0. Next item.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Next item, consider bids for purchase of the tractor for the Parks Department.
This will be Brian Bailey, our Park Superintendent, handling this item.
Hello, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. Tonight I bring before you the 2018 tractor replacement. The issue is the Parks Department is requesting approval to purchase a John Deere tractor 590M manufactured and furnished to our specifications using the cooperative purchasing program set by our finance department. In 1993, almost 25 years ago, the Parks Department bought a Case International tractor. This tractor has served our department very well, but in the recent years, we've had some costly expenses and repairs for this tractor. In 1994, the Parks Department also bought a Ford tractor, which is now 24 years old. And this tractor's also served the Parks Department very well, but in the recent years has begun to have some considerably high repair costs. Both these tractors are used to mow large areas with our batwing mower, our 3-point hitch ditch mower, and aid and turf maintenance for the sports field and soccer complex. These attachments that we use on these tractors are at the max capacity, which is a big contributor to some of the failures for these tractors. Without these tractors, we are unable to keep up on key components of our operations, such as mowing ditchways, cutting back trails, and turf renovations, and help clean up brushy areas. After reviewing purchasing options, department staff chose to utilize the State of Kansas Cooperative Purchasing Program. The program is handled, the program handles administrative by the state of Kansas and is used throughout the region for the purchase of agricultural equipment. This program allows us to purchase equipment that meets our needs from a local dealer and a manufacturer with proven record of customer service in the state of Kansas region. It ensures that we receive the best possible price, which we'll be getting a 22.5 discount from the MSRP for utilizing this cooperative purchasing program, while guaranteeing that the standard of governmental purchasing practices are followed. Furthermore, this program will expedite the purchase process, and it won't delay it, and it'll make the process much faster. Staff has developed a set of specific specifications for the tractor that would replace 2 of the old tractors. The new tractor will be equipped with the ability to perform aspects of the maintenance required by the Parks Department. The tractor on the state cooperative bid that meets these requirements is a John Deere 590M utility tractor in the amount of $52,396.04 from Heritage Tractor in Smithville, Missouri, which is just across the river. It would be the staff's recommendation to purchase one of these tractors in the amount of $52,396.04. We have a budget that is in the CIP equipment purchase for $55,000. Do you have any questions?
I do. I noticed that you purchased another extended service contract on this, or at least it's in the bid.
Correct, that's part of the bid.
What's the normal, or what's the initial warranty on that tractor?
A 2-year.
And how many hours?
I'm not 100% sure. I think it's 2,000 hours.
Yeah, your new one is good for 2,000 hours.
Right.
How long does it take you to put that on your tractors?
How long's what?
How long does that take you to put 2,000 hours on a tractor?
It's hard to say, but I imagine it'd take us pretty close to 4 years.
Okay. And this is covered for the 2,000 regardless of the age?
It covers for the 2,000, 2 years to 2,000 hours, and then the extended goes on to the next.
For the next 2,000?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So then, if I buy it without protection plan, to Commissioner Dedeke's point, I get 2,000 hours or 2 years, whichever comes first.
Correct.
And this extra $2,000 or 1,928 is another 2 years or 2,000 miles.
Correct.
Okay, so it takes 4.
4 years. Yes.
And what are some examples of where we would bring that in? Where would we use it? What would have to happen to the tractor for, say, hey?
For something, for any engine problem, transmission problem, manufacturer defect would cover all that.
These automatic or standards?
These are, they're automatics, basically. They're a speed
Shift on the go?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The tractor that we are requiring is a little bit different than most tractors. It comes with a creeper gear or a reduction gear. It allows us to use our attachments at a slower, very, very slow speed, so damage doesn't occur to the attachments or the tractor.
Okay. So it's sort of like a CCT transmission?
Yeah, similar.
So and realistically, if in the third year, we have this extended warranty and something breaks, we do call in the warranty, we don't take it to the service center and say, hey, will you guys fix it?
Yes, yep, as long as it's not a wear item.
Okay.
Yes.
So you will, okay,
Yes.
okay. Any other questions?
I have a question. We're going from 2 tractors to 1 tractor, correct?
Correct, yeah.
So just, I mean, I guess this tractor's more capable, but you still have the same amount of,
It's a larger tractor.
Okay.
The tractors that we're replacing have a 60-horse engine and about a 55-horse engine. This tractor's gonna have a 90-horse engine, which is gonna allow us to use bigger attachments.
Okay. Be more
use
versatile.
the attachments that we have, where it's not meeting the tractor's capability. This tractor will be able to do everything that those other 2 tractors were allowed
okay.
us to do.
So the workload will be accomplished with 1 tractor versus where it was
Correct.
covered by 2, but this is a more capable, more modern, and more versatile
Yep,
tractor.
yeah, just like vehicles, you know, over time you have,
Okay.
you have better vehicles.
So
What happens to the old one?
Yeah.
The other 2, the 2 old ones will be going on Purple Wave,
Okay,
the auction,
okay,
auction side.
good.
Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the purchase of 1 2018 John Deere 5090M utility tractor in the amount of $52,396.04 from Heritage Tractor.
Second.
My report says 3 cents. Not that penny's gonna make any difference, but what is your?
It does, it says 3 cents back here. and then
Mine says
4
4,
cents
but
here.
well, I'll go with 3.
Does it really make that much difference, Carla?
The bid says 3
Well,
cents.
Yeah, the bid says 4 cents, I don't.
Okay,
Say not to exceed.
okay, not to
yeah.
exceed, okay.
Not to exceed.
Okay, begin voting, Commissioner Bowder.
Aye.
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 Passes 5-0, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is consider sole source purchase of extrication rescue tools for the fire department. I'm sure we have the chief here, haven't we?
Hi, Chief.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, appreciate the opportunity tonight to come before you. In our CIP budget, we'd budgeted funds for extrication equipment. I was standing before you just a few years ago, and basically what we're talking about tonight is it's a set of tools, and I brought some just so you have some visuals. A lot of people refer to these tools, they know them as jaws of life, and that wasn't a brand or anything, that's kind of what they do. Initially, when they first came out, they would spread up to like 12,000 pounds of pressure at the tips. Over years, you know, and the cars have changed with the airbag and stuff. So with cars that have airbags and side airbags, there's tubes and stuff goes up and down your post with 5,000 pounds of pressure. So you got to be real cautious what you're doing. So also a lot with the new metal and steel and vehicles and stuff. We do a lot of cutting now, and you know, almost as much cutting as we do spreading. Also with vehicles that have front-wheel drive vehicles, the way their construction and stuff, we don't, we used to be able to hook on and pull, actually, we'd pull like the steering wheel up off people, but with the front-wheel drive and stuff, it's got a knuckle down there at the drive line, so with the steering wheel drive line. So now we do a lot of what we call dash rolls and stuff. We make cuts, and we have a thing called a ram that just is a cylinder that goes up that we put on the dash to lift it up versus pulling stuff. So there's, with the new types of cars and stuff, we can develop these kinds of tools. The original Hearst tools was a hydraulic. It had a pump. It could either be an onboard or portable. We have a portable pump at this time. And it's like a 2-cycle lawnmower engine. So you start it up, and you got that sound, that noise, which just adds to the chaos on the scene. You have hydraulic hoses you have to hook up. You have a gas oil mixture of gas that you put into this power unit, then you hook the hoses up, and then the tools, you carry them, so you have to carry them where you want, and you have to make all the hookups. It takes a little time to get that set up. it's been several years now, but we actually had received a grant on the Kansas side, the 3 counties, well, it was KCK fire and Olathe fire, so the 3 counties, we was part of that. So we received what's the newer style is called the hydraulics. So it's a rescue tool, but it works off a battery, just like your DeWalt batteries and things of that nature. So we got a set of that for free, actually, and immediately the guys really fell in love with it. It's slick, it's quiet, it's, we just had a drill here recently, and before they even got the hydraulic stuff hooked up, that we're replacing, the other crews already had their tools down there in operation. And one of the things that, what we got for free off the Homeland Security grant was a Hearst brand. There's other brands. And so one of the things I've strived for since I've been here is keep things universal and standardized. Just like we bought the trucks, everything's standardized. So when a guy gets sent from one station to the other, everything's the same. It also helps with the mechanics and maintenance of things. With these being hydraulic tools, we certainly want the same kind of batteries, because down the road, when we get ready to have to replace batteries or something, we don't want different types of batteries for the different, and each manufacturer has their own. So like if you wanted to buy a F-150 Ford, you could get lots of pricing from the Ford dealers. This here is kind of specific, and like each manufacturer of their tools, they have territories, so they won't bid against each other. And once in a while, some things that I've done, since where we're located, we can kind of catch different ones when we're right on the borderline in certain territories. But that's why the sole source. We currently have one of these exact kind of tools that we're proposing to purchase at Station 2 and Station 1. This purchase here would actually replace the old hydraulic set that's over 15 years old at Station 3. That would give us a rescue tool, keep one in each region of the city. That's our goal here. We're doing. So that's why the sole source. Just to make sure, I always like to check the vendors and just make sure. I did just kind of, visit with them, a couple other manufacturers, and just to see what they had. I didn't even know that there was actually 2 other ones out there actually that had the hydraulics. Hearst was one of the first ones, so they've been proven. In fact, KCK's almost went universal with all these on their trucks. The Ford up here, Fort Leavenworth, which we use a lot on mutual aid, they have the same type of tool. But I did just get not official bid specs, but just price quotes from other 2 manufacturers, and we're right in the ballpark. There was one quite a bit higher than us. The other one was about $150 less, but to be standardized and stuff, that's why we want the sole source to be the same. Because of the pricing that came in also, and trying to get each station standardized, Station 3 does not have a set of airbags. And so I included in here set ice airbags. Normally with the price that those are at, it wouldn't be something I'd come to the council, but since I'm kind of lumped it in, I went ahead and attached it here with the bids on that. And I just wanted to show you real quick, just bring up one of the tools. Bring up the spreaders. Go ahead and bring the cutters too. These spreaders actually, the same as the hydraulic. Go ahead and crank it up a little bit. That's all there is to it. And they're quick. They have a battery just like you would have on your DeWalt that switches out. There's a spare on the truck. It's got a button you can push. It shows you what it's charging on. They check it every morning. It also has a 110. It's a battery with the cord off of it. So for fail-safe, if something was going on, we could start our generators and run it off of 110 also. It exerts to over 12,000 pounds at those tips. And of course, the cutters, we do a lot of cutting on the A post and B post. So we got cutters that it'll cut about through anything. And it just, mainly we use this on vehicle extrications, but it's also machinery, other types of things that we may come across.
Show us the cutter.
Sir?
Show us the cutter. Did you bring an I-beam or anything?
This particular truck, Rescue 2 has 2 cutters. One's the smallest, which we're buying. This is a large one. Just a second. When it was new, it would do this real smoothly. Let's see what happens now. That's some close tolerance there. Cut that. You'd think it would just crunch it, but And this has been used a few times. I was hoping it'd still work like that, but that's the cutters. We didn't bring in the Ram, but the Ram actually does the extension stuff. So this is a three-piece set. Their truck actually has a four-piece set, and that cutter's extra large. And then the airbags, just so you know what those are. And what was the poundage on those lift? 29,000 pounds. There's an airbag back there. It runs off of one of our air cylinders and controllers, and it actually just, you can put it in this flat and it just lifts that 29,000 pounds. So it has a lot of application also. So,
Would it, let's say a car was crushed, or somebody crushed, you could put it in there and it lift up concrete or up to 29,000 pounds or?
yeah, that one bag.
You could also do a tire rotation with that.
Yeah.
And we can actually stack bags too if we needed more height. You know, they have a lot of different sizes, but we can actually stack bags, you know.
Wow, that's cool.
Anyway, so, and then of course when you're doing that, we're cribbing real quick too in case something happens, it don't drop,
Yeah.
but absolutely. So anyway, but that's what we're brought before you tonight.
What was the board you had?
The what,
We
sir?
had a board.
That's the actual airbag.
That's the airbag.
Oh, okay.
If you'd open that up now, it would be a mess.
No, it wouldn't blow
Then
up.
bring it up here and show us. This is like,
Trying to demonstrate.
this is like Bob the Builder or something. I love watching this stuff.
Just pull it up. Yeah, that's fine.
Sit on it, Carly.
27 tons there.
Cool.
Wow.
7.
It's actually very low pressure as well. So 29 tons, and I can stop it with my thumb. So it's very low
That's
pressure.
cool.
We have a little adapters with an off on that we put on first. So like if they needed that hose for another one, they turn it off, unplug it, it would go down, plug it to another one.
Oh, that's cool.
Anyway, this is one of our older sets actually, so this be, and the set that we're proposing to purchase here actually is exactly like the one we have in Quint 1 down Station 1. So that's kind of our goal, is to get everything standardized at the 3 stations. The sole source purchase for the Hearst brand is $26,472.38. And then the airbag set, the match the other one we have from Feld Fire is $4,234. The total package was $30,706.38, and our 2018 CIP included $32,000 for the purchase of extrication equipment.
Any questions or comments for the chief?
No.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Chief.
Any questions, comments?
No.
No, sir.
Good.
If not, I'll take a motion.
I move that we, sole source purchase the Hearst rescue tools through Danco Emergency Equipment in the amount not to exceed $26,472.38. And the purchase of the Paratech 3 airbag set, from Feld Fire in the not to exceed $4,234.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to do sole source purchasing of the extrication tools as presented. Begin voting with Commissioner Griswold.
Aye.
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 Passes 5-0. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Next item, consider bids for replacement police vehicles. Chief Nicodemus.
Good evening again. This item on the agenda is a request to purchase 3 police patrol sedans for the police department from Olathe Dodge in the amount of $88,248. Every year, as part of the CIP budget process, the police department reviews our vehicle fleet to determine if we need to replace any of our vehicles. We did that last year as part of the budget process and identified 3 vehicles that we'll need to replace this year. Those are the traditional black and white cars that you see, the police patrol sedans. Bids were put out. We received 2 back, the one from Olathe Dodge and another one from Zeck Ford in the amount of $84,000. The bid from Zeck Ford doesn't meet the specs that we put out. Mainly, there's 2 big issues. One is it's a V6 sedan versus the Dodge, which is a V8 sedan. A little bit of history, we had V6 patrol cars probably 25 years ago. It's been that long, ever since we've used the V8, and don't have any issues with those. The other significant issue in this, the difference in the specs is the Dodge vehicles give us the capability of having an in-dash screen for our mobile data terminals. A couple issues with what we have right now. As you know, we've had our MDTs for probably 4 years now in the cars. They're big, they take up space. We've varied the different mounts that we have to try to find a optimal configuration for the screen in the car. We have to be cognizant of airbag deployment and issues of safety like that. There's also some convenience issues whenever you have more than one officer in a patrol car, which is frequent for us in a training environment when you have a training officer and the trainee. So not a whole lot of room there. By allowing us to get the patrol cars with the in-dash screens will eliminate the safety concerns with the airbag, with the mount, with the screen itself, and will also free up some much needed space. Once we start throwing all that equipment in there, there's just not much space in there anyway with the cage and equipment that we have in there. So we were allocated $118,500 in the 2018 CIP budget for these 3 patrol cars. The remainder of the funds, not to exceed $30,252, will be reserved for equipment, which we will, once the cars are approved, we'll know what kind of equipment we need to buy for those, and if need be, come back to the commission for those items. So staff would ask that you approve the purchase of 3 2018 Dodge Charger 4-door police patrol sedans from Olathe Dodge in the amount of $88,248.
Dan, can you talk a little bit about the equipment that's required, our ability to reuse some, and what does that equipment entail?
Sure. Probably 5 to 6 years ago, we transitioned away from the Ford Crown Vics as a traditional police car, and Dodge has been the bid winner ever since. The cars have different sizes and specs, so that changes what we put into the cars as far as cages, prisoner transport cages, even the light bar that goes on the top of the car. And they're not universal. They can be adjustable up to a certain point, but they're not universal, as in they'll fit on any of the sedans. So we kind of took a look at what would be the difference if we had the Fords versus the Dodge, and without putting everything on the car, we know we were going to spend about another $2,700 for different light bars for the cars, being unable to use the light bars that we have coming off of the old Dodges right now.
So if we did go with the Fords, which were $4,000 cheaper, call it $1,300 a car, we would have to spend $8,100 to save that $4,000. Is that what you're saying, Chief?
You would, but you can't consider that in the bid.
No, I understand that, but I mean,
yeah,
But
exactly.
overall,
but that kind of explained some of your reasoning on the Dodge versus Ford.
Yeah, we would, unlikely that we would get to the $30,252 because we are able to reuse a lot of the cage and a lot of the stuff off the retiring cars on these new ones.
And the Dodge is a full-size vehicle, while the Ford, I don't know if Stars, whatever, a little bit smaller. So when you have a police officer sitting in the seat, maybe the seat's as wide as this one, as opposed to one a little bit closer, and you have all your gear on. Could be, I don't know, easier to maneuver, I'm guessing.
You know, they're close, but there is a little bit more room in the Dodge. And the officers are used to it, you know, with your A-pillars and such being in the not exact same lines along the car. Line of sight.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
I have a comment. I'm glad Zech Ford bid, but I mean, they didn't meet the technical specifications of the contract. So, I mean, this is a pretty easy decision, right?
Right, and you know, I've been in contact with their new fleet manager.
Right.
And they acknowledge they don't meet the specs.
Okay.
We've talked about sitting down in the upcoming year and seeing how Ford can get back in the picture.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that would be good. I do have, what about the replacement, the vehicles that are being retired? What happens to them?
Those are stripped of all the equipment, stripped of all the graphics on them, and then they are sold at auction at Purple Wave by the Parks Office.
Thank you.
Commissioner Dedekian, I get something.
Yeah, Chief, I see that you're asking for 88,248 for the 3 vehicles. Did this or does it not include extended warranty?
There's no extended warranty. It's a standard warranty of 3 years, 36,000 on the
Right.
vehicle, 5 years, 100,000 on the powertrain.
Great, thank you.
I know that after riding the mayor and the chief in a car that had the in-screen display was so much more comfortable and easier, and I can imagine when you get all your equipment, and I know how it is with the other one, it was sticking way out in the middle of the seat there, very awkward to
We're looking
sit with.
forward to it, and in addition on the Fords, they're moving that way. They're just not there yet with the in-dash screens.
I got a question. When the city auction off, the property, when you get the funds back, do they go back to the department or does it return back to the city?
So all the departments that are not refuse and wastewater are general fund. So there is no such thing as the police department getting the money back or the public works. It all returns to the general fund.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll take a motion.
I'll move that we approve the purchase of 3 2018 Dodge Charger 4-door sedans from Olathe Dodge at a price of $29,416 each, at a total cost of $88,248.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to purchase the 3 police vehicles as stated. Begin voting with Commissioner Bowder.
Aye.
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 Passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Next item's consent agenda.
I think the claims, just very quickly, and once again, I'm learning every time I look at this report, which comes every 2 weeks, but just from a general educational standpoint, there were 2 claims in there that I just thought I'd bring to the attention of the commissions and our citizens. There was a payment for an annual premium payment to State Farm Insurance for the city's property and casualty insurance with Planners 2. And then the other one was the monthly payment premium to United Healthcare for the city's healthcare insurance program for its employees. So those are just 2 that I wanted to put some emphasis on. But I will make a motion now to approve the claims for February 24th, 2018 through March 9th, 2018 in the amount of $1,199,901.25. Net amount for pay number 5 effective March 2nd, 2018 in the amount of $316,523.72. And that includes no police and fire pension.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Begin voting with Commissioner Bowder.
Aye.
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 Passes 5-0. Now, discussion among commissioners. Commissioner Bowder.
I just would like to make sure we invite everybody to come down to the parade. I'm on the parade committee. I'll be lining up the dignitaries. And we start lining up at 11 o'clock when the police department closes the streets. And then, or street department, I guess, police department and street department. And then we, actually the parade begins at noon down on the corner of Cherokee and 4th. So please come out. It should be fun.
Okay. Looking forward to it. Commissioner Dedekian.
I have nothing.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes, I want to know if we could possibly have a study session with code enforcement and look into increasing the fines for repeated violators.
I would ask that the city manager may report back to us. The fines are established by court. We don't establish the fines. Am I correct in that assumption? And
I think you can, I think if they're in ordinance, I think you can
okay.
establish them.
Can the city manager just provide us a report on what the fines are? I know that the levying of the fines is done by the judge, and I know what happens quite often. The judge will say $100 suspended if you mow your lawn or whatever, whatever the thing might be. And then they come back a second time, maybe that again, but if our municipal prosecutor, Mr. Dawson, is fairly good that this person is a repeat offender. I think the judge has been hitting them hard. It has happened that way. But Can you give us a report on just a list of all those, and then we'll decide whether we want to go any further there? I think it's fairly clear, and and maybe you can help me, Mr. Waters, you know, I think we have fines up to like 500 municipal court. I mean, could we in theory take them up to 1,500?
Yeah, in municipal court, there are caps on what you
That's
can
what I
charge
thought.
without taking somebody up to the district court. So there are limits on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew there was limits, and one thing that we do on, one of the biggest violations that occurs is on lawn mowing. First time that we have to hire somebody to mow someone's lawn, and it costs us $35 to do it, we charge $35 plus $100 of admin fee. The next time, we charge the $35 plus $250 admin fee. The third time, and subsequent times, same year, $500. That has gotten people's attention, because before we charge them $100 once a year, and we'd mow their lawn, and basically they said, hey, that's not bad, have somebody mow my lawn, just pay $100, it's still cheaper than me buying a lawnmower or doing the work, so, we've tried to put some teeth into it, and I think it's made some, but let's see what, Mr. Kramer comes back with, and we'll look at that, Mr. Wilson. Anything else?
No, sir.
Mr. Rizzo?
Yeah, I'm fine with that approach, but I would like eventually to look at this whole code enforcement thing more holistically. One of the exhibits today in the, I think it was the 800 Miami property, there was a list of a page and a half of violations, and I believe fines. I don't know if those fines were paid, and I'm not sure over what period of time they were, but I mean, it was a pretty lengthy list, so, and I'm glad that it finally got to get on the demolition list, but I'm just trying to understand the process and making sure we're doing everything as a commission that makes, you know, sense. So I'm good with looking at the fines, but I think there should be an opportunity maybe for us to go into a little more detail on the whole code enforcement thing in the future.
Mr. Mayor, I'd add, this would probably be a good time for this coming up as well. There's legislation in the House right now that is kind of beefing up cities' powers with abandoned properties and their ability to take control of those and such. I know they got a real positive hearing. I'm not sure if it's passed the House yet and gone to the Senate. I imagine it's since the turnaround. It has, but it's House Bill 2506. In case you want to get on your Kansas legislative website and take a look at that. But there have been some movements to increase the powers of cities to take care of dilapidated buildings, abandoned properties. So that might be a timely discussion as that bill progresses through the chambers.
I have one thing I forgot to mention last week. Commissioner Bowder, Chief Kitchens, and I attended the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast in Kansas City a week and a half ago. Lamar Hunt Jr. Was the guest speaker. I know Commissioner Bowder was a guest of the Kansas City ATA. And the chief, all the police chiefs are there as the mayor. There's probably, 35 mayors figure up there on stage? Yeah. So it was attended by probably 1,000, 1,200 people. It's always a good event annually. It happens in early March every year. So that's all I have. Mr. Kramer, do you have anything?
I don't.
I don't. If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.